on, my beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of the HustleCoast Podcast. And today we have an absolutely phenomenal guest on the show. He is the founder and lead videographer of BlueBox Digital Media Productions, an award-winning video and content productions company based out of Tampa, Florida. And he is the host of Think Outside the BlueBox Podcast. I introduce to you Anthony Rivera.
Thank you so much, Jesse, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show. This is I'm reminiscing here. Like, you and I haven't seen each other for a long time. You were part of the beginning of BlueBox.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. I don't know if you remember, like we shot a couple music videos and that was in the very, very beginning. So this is kind of like a 360 moment for me. So thanks again for having me on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show today and telling your story. And yeah, man, you're right. It's like I've known you, even though we haven't spoke necessarily all the time, but I've known you for a lot of years, it seems. We've worked on projects together, and you were legit back then. So I can imagine how things have progressed for you. I've seen everything that you've been doing online, and I'm just really excited to talk about it, man, for sure.
Thank you, man. Yeah, and that's something that stood out about you as well, man, is that your professionalism, your hustle. Like, I could tell right from the beginning, as soon as I met you, like, you were going to be something big. And yeah, here we are, years later.
I know, man, right? It's funny, man. It's awesome. And it's funny that we both kind of got into the podcast game, right?
Yeah.
But it works, man. It works.
Yeah, it works.
The program that we're using, you probably know more about than me. But you were like, oh, I know that program. I was like, hey, man, we're Riverside brothers, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's actually part of the business now, is that I actually rent the space out behind me, the podcast studio, and I actually have clients come in here and we use Riverside. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's epic. And I definitely want to hear more about that. Absolutely. But for all my guests, I always really like to start from the beginning, the origin story. So where were you born? What was your childhood like? Upbringing, all that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I was actually born in Puerto Rico. A lot of people don't know that about me because I don't have an accent, and I don't present as a Puerto Rican per se because of my light skin or whatever. So a lot of people confuse me for an American or or a white boy. I get called a lot. So, but yeah, I was born in Puerto Rico, and we came here when 93, I believe. And yeah, we built a life here, and I always tell my parents that coming here was one of the best decisions they've ever made, because the opportunity and just everything about the United States is just like you can be whatever you want, and I honestly believe that if I had grown up in Puerto Rico, I'd be a different person, honestly. Like, right. I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I had, or that I have, just living here. So yeah, we moved here in 93, and I've been here ever since, in Tampa, and I'm a Tampa boy. So I relate a lot to the people from Florida more than people from Puerto Rico, believe it or not.
Right. 93 is a long time, man. That's a long time to be here.
Time.
So you're basically like a true Floridian.
I'm a Floridian, yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, my roots are from Puerto Rico. I still speak Spanish very fluently, but yeah, I consider myself a Florida boy, a Tampa boy. I grew up here, yeah. So
yeah, man, you don't meet too many. I know for you, technically, you weren't born there, but I would still consider that, a Tampanian or Tampa native or whatever you call us. For me, I was born in Clearwater, Florida, so same thing. But yeah, man, that's what's up. That's
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, Florida boys.
Yeah, for sure, man. Florida boys. So, so when you moved here, was it just you and your parents? Did you have siblings?
Yeah, it was me, my parents, and my two brothers. My grandma actually came with us too, so it's like the nucleus of the family. Actually, we uprooted our entire lives, and we came here just looking for opportunity. Just Puerto Rico is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to naysay Puerto Rico. I love where I'm from. I love my country. I love the people, and I still have family over there. But we uprooted, and we all moved here together, which was a huge help, because moving to a different country or a different state even by yourself is tough. It's tough, especially when it's a new culture, a new language. You're trying to start from scratch with nothing. So it was really tough, but having that nucleus, having that family, that Puerto Rican, roots and the culture and the familial, Puerto Ricans and Hispanics in general, they're all family first, and that has kind of carried on into our Florida Florida lives.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. My girl is Puerto Rican, so I'm very familiar with Puerto Rican culture.
Oh
For me,
yes.
people don't know, but I'm half Costa Rican, which, obviously Central America on my dad's side, but I don't speak Spanish or anything. But yeah,
Okay.
man. So I know about, people just automatically assuming, oh, okay, you're just a white boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure.
You know how many times I've heard that?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And then like people like talk Spanish about me behind my back. That happens all the time.
Oh man, that's
Yeah, I love it.
hilarious, bro.
I love it.
Okay, for sure. So your family moves here. You were a young kid when you guys moved here, right? Young
Yeah, I
kid.
was in fifth grade. Yeah, I was like 13, 12, 13, something like that. Yeah, so it was, I had, taken some English lessons because I went to private school in Puerto Rico. So I already knew the language, but I had an accent, like you could tell I wasn't from here.
Right.
So, they put me in ESOL, they put me in like English courses and stuff like that. And they were surprised that I was very fluent in English already,
Oh wow.
which was great. Yeah, it helped me out quite a bit.
Nice.
But yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. So you guys moved here from Puerto Rico. You moved straight to Tampa. You're growing up in Tampa. How was like middle school and high school for you? Like what kind of student, what kind of kid were you?
I was the type of person that, sat in front of all the classrooms. I paid attention. I got all the grades. People used to copy off of my papers. So yeah, it was interesting because, in Puerto Rico, it wasn't like that. Everybody's just kind of on an even playing field. But here, like I kind of stood out a little bit, not only because I was Puerto Rican and I spoke Spanish and, then, I was a little bit more versed in my culture, but, yeah, no, that's it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What high school did you go to?
I went to Leto High School for those of you
Leto
who
High
are from,
School.
yes, for those of
Yes,
you who are
sir.
from Tampa, Leto High School,
For sure,
home
man.
of the Falcons.
There you go, dude. I've been having a lot of Tampa people on the pod lately, and I've been always asking, because I know like about every school, in Tampa, being a Tampa native myself. So I graduated from Chamberlain High School, which I'm probably
Oh,
sure you
okay.
know. Yeah.
Nice. Heck yeah. Yeah, I've actually done a couple of shoots there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's a beautiful building. It's built in what, the 50s, I think, right? Big brick
Yeah, it's an
and nice.
old, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's one of the classics. It's been
Yeah,
here for a long,
classic.
long time.
For sure, man. 100%. Okay, so you go to high school at Leto. So once you get out of high school, what's the next step for you?
I go straight into college. I grew up in a family where it's like that's just the next logical thing, and I kind of tend to tell people that that's not necessarily mandatory now, especially in the creative fields. It's what you can do, not what you know, right? So as long as you can show a good portfolio, you don't necessarily need that degree, but it's what you did, right? So
Right.
I grew up, straight from high school into college. So I actually went to college. And it's interesting because when I first signed up to go to college, my initial degree was art. Like I wanted to be an
Mm,
artist, like
wow.
at anything. But as kind of the starting date was starting to get near, I a lot of people kept telling me, there's not a lot of money in that. You know how people are. They try to dissuade you from your passion.
Right.
So they were like, you need something a little bit more safe, and I hate that. I don't like safe, as you know, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
hustlers, we're not we jump out of the plane and then we build our parachute on the way down. So it's
Right.
like we take that leap of faith, and I don't like the safe route because then you eventually end up going back, which is what I did. So when the starting date was starting to come near, I actually changed my major and I did computer network administration because I was really good with computers at the time, and everybody
Mhm.
kept telling me like that's what you need to do. That's more safe than art.
Right.
And I got my degree in computer network administration. So I worked in IT for a very, very long time, and that creative itch was always in the back of my mind. I missed it. Like it was one of my biggest regrets in my life is not sticking with that art degree.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, later on, like once I was in it, once I was in IT, I mean, it was okay. I liked it, but it wasn't my passion. I wasn't passionate about it. Like it was just a job for me,
right.
and that itch was always there. So like a couple of years down the road, I have a good career. I'm making good money. But like that creative itch was always in the back of my head. Like I need to do something with that. Like I want to do something that I'm passionate about. So I actually went back after I was married and had kids and everything. So I went back to school for computer animation. So I'm technically a computer animator, but you know, a lot of people don't know that about me. Yeah.
Sick.
A lot of revelations today.
Yeah. That's epic, man.
But yeah, I'm a computer animator now.
For sure, dude. Okay, cool. So you graduate from college, you're working in IT. Obviously IT, I know people in IT, there's a lot of money to be made in IT, but you always felt like you had that creative itch to, start your own company. Do you feel like when you were in college, did you already have business acumen? Were you learning about business as well on top of that, or no?
No, actually, business just kind of, I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. Like I want to do my own thing. I don't care. I don't want a job. I want to do my own thing. And uh, I kept starting businesses and failing, and kept starting businesses and failing, and using my job as a safety net, like a backup. Like I knew that I had that, right? So I could take some risks and venture out and try to do something with better, than a job, do my own thing. And after like the ninth or 10th business that I started and failed, I realized that I was learning what not to do.
Right, right.
So after failing 9 times, the 10th time I started BlueBox, and yeah, here we are.
Dang, bro, that's crazy, man. Because a lot of people, they would not fail 9 times. You know what I mean? Like failing 9 times, like I figure like a lot of people, even myself at times, like you fail 2 or 3 times, you start really feeling like, damn, man, like is this really it for me, or like do I need to start like thinking about clocking back into work?
Yeah.
So that's crazy, man. That definitely shows your willingness to not accept defeat, which is pretty epic.
Yeah, no, and I knew that this is the route that I wanted to go, and I knew that every time that I failed, I would learn something, right? So every failure is a lesson. So into the next business, I took that into the next business. So it's like, okay, now I'm not going to do that to fail. But I failed again, but it was for a different reason. So then like each time you fail, it's like you learn something from it. And eventually consistency is key, honestly. Like if you keep doing something, I mean, you have to learn lessons from it. You can't keep doing the exact same thing and failing every time. You have to change a little bit. Yeah. But once you get that momentum, it's like consistency is key. Like if you keep doing something enough times, you get better at it each time. And eventually, I mean, success is inevitable.
Yeah, no, 100%. Those other businesses that you started that didn't work out, were they in the same line? Were they production and videography, or no? Was it different stuff?
It was everything, man. Like at first, because I was doing computers, I started a business, with IT. Like I would go to people's houses and I would, people that don't know about computers, I would install software for them, or I would install a new video card or whatever, like that kind of stuff. And then that kind of fell to the side. And I started doing some consulting work where I would go to the companies and set up their networks and things like that. So it just kept evolving, but that creative itch again just kept itching my brain, and I just couldn't let it go. It just kept coming back.
That's epic, man. So moving into BlueBox, so what inspired you to start the production company?
Dude, honestly, when I graduated from animation school, like I have a bachelor's degree in computer animation, and that's what I wanted to do, right? So I started going out there looking for jobs, applying here, applying there. And if anybody is trying to find animation jobs in Florida, will know that there are no animation jobs here in Florida. They're very few and far between. There's probably maybe 2 big companies, like EA Sports, I think is still in Orlando, and like Digital Domain, I think is still here. But a lot of the stuff has moved out. Like Disney used to have an animation studio here, but they moved everything to Burbank. And I'm kind of tied to Florida in a way because my family's here. I have kids here, so it's like I've kind of laid some roots in this area, and so I knew that I needed to stay here. I can't just up and move and just uproot my life again,
Right.
So I started to try to figure out a way to use that same skill set. But instead of in the digital world, I wanted to use it in the real world. So just little by little, I started just buying a camera and then just going on YouTube and just teaching myself how to use, because the concepts are the same, right? Like the camera angles, the lighting, like all that stuff is the same, whether you're in the digital world or the physical world. The only thing that you really need to learn is the technical aspect, like how to actually work a camera and how to, what different lenses do and what lighting does in the real world. And so I call it YouTube University, because there's so much information on YouTube that you can literally learn anything. Yeah. And again, it goes back to that you don't need the degree, especially in an artistic field. Like you could literally just go on YouTube and just look up, okay, how do I work this camera? How do I work this lens? And how do I 3-point lighting, and just go down all the rabbit holes, just learn as much as you possibly can for free. And then once you have that portfolio, you're undeniable. Like you don't need that degree. Nobody's going to come to me and ask me, hey, do you have a film degree? No. Like I can prove to you that I can do it. And here's the proof. This is my work. And yeah, that's how it all started.
That's crazy, man. And it's funny. That's what I love about creative things, because like in the business world, and when I say business world, I'm talking about like corporate business world. Like if you don't have your bachelor's in this or 5 years experience in this, they don't even look at your resume. But in the creative world, it's like, yo, I didn't go to school a day in my life, but this is what I can make. And then they look at it and they're just like, okay, you're hired.
That's it. Yeah. It's not like you're not like a lawyer, right? You're not going into a lawyer's office and looking for the credentials up on the wall. It's like you see somebody's portfolio. It's like, okay, I want that. Yeah. I want to work with that person because I want my stuff to look like that.
For sure.
So let me turn this around on you, man. Like what made you come to me for a music video way back in the day when I had probably like 1 or 2 music videos in my portfolio?
Honestly, man, I remember just looking at your quality. And being like, yo, this is tight. And then I think I reached out to you and, we kind of just ended up connecting and we went ahead and did it.
I love it, man. See that quality stands out. So as long as you can provide proof to your client, like, hey, look, this is what I can do for you, then that's all that matters.
100%, man. So walk us through some of your early days of when you first launched the business, getting clients, things like that.
Yeah, when I first launched, again, I had that safety net of the job, so I started just doing it on the side, and I knew that, again, I had to have a good portfolio to show my clients, because just giving them here, I'm an animator, let me make a music video for you, like, that doesn't make any sense. So I knew that I had to build my portfolio so that I could show what I can do, because I know my ability and I know what I can accomplish, but I had nothing to show for it. So in the beginning, I'm a huge proponent of do what you love for free and do it long enough that people recognize it and are willing to pay for it. Right. So that's how I started. I literally just went on Instagram and just started reaching out to different artists and saying, hey, I know you're starting out, I'm starting out. Let's just shoot a music video. I'll do it for free. I'm not going to charge you a dime. And we did. And that's how I started. I started, just shooting music videos just for random artists. And, I'm still friends with a lot of those artists today, that they've grown with me and just do it for free. That's my biggest piece of advice is do it for free. And then eventually people will recognize your talent and they'll just throw money at you basically. Like they'll be willing to pay for it.
Yo, that's big facts right there. So you said 2 things. The first thing is that I just kind of want to reiterate is how you started doing this part-time when you did have your job initially, because I feel like a lot of people, especially those of us who are always focusing on personal growth and, we listen to a lot of motivational audio or read books, whatever, a lot of times the message in a lot of that is, well, you need to jump. And there is truth to that. You do need to jump. You do need to take action. But I learned the difference between blind risk and calculated risk.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I feel like for a lot of people, they need to be smart. They need to be calculated. Yes, take risks, but don't put yourself so where you're, having to stand in line at the food pantry. You know what I'm saying? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know what I mean? Like start doing your passion on the side, staying up late, do what you have to do at first, and then get to the point where once you kind of get rolling, then it's an easy transition.
Yeah, no, I like what you said, the calculated risk, right? You're not just going to quit your job overnight with no portfolio, no experience, no nothing. Like you have no reputation. Nobody's going to know who you are. So
Right.
you are more likely to fail in that sense. So I'll tell you my story of when I decided to jump. So I started doing it on the side and I started building my portfolio, building my clientele. People started to recognize me and people started to reach out to me. And I hate to say this because I know a lot of people, suffered during COVID, but COVID was a huge blessing for me and a lot of other business owners because it made you, stand back, look at your life as a whole. Like, is this the direction I want to go to? And a lot of people pivoted. And that's a thing with entrepreneurs. You need to be able to pivot at the right moment, not just willy nilly, right? You can't just jump because people say jump. So yeah, that was a huge thing for me during COVID. I was working at a medical laboratory at the time, and I was their IT guy. I had been there for 10 years, man. It was a decade of my life that I dedicated to this company, and I was miserable. Like I hated it. And COVID kind of made everybody work from home, and they sent everybody home. So I spent a lot of time at the house, and one thing that I got from that is time. Like I didn't have to commute every day. I didn't have to spend an hour, 3 hours in a car every single day.
Right.
So I had more time to think. I had more time to work on the business. Like as soon as I clocked out, I started working on the business. So it gave me that gift of time and perspective. Like I was able to see, okay, I think now is the time. Like I felt it. I felt
Right.
it in my heart. I was like, this is it. Like,
Dang.
and then COVID kind of closed everything down, so it was a little tough at first. But once everything started opening back up, especially here in Florida, we closed down for like a week.
Yeah.
So a lot
Yeah.
of people started moving here
Yeah.
from the other states that weren't as open as Florida. We
Right.
had a lot of people from New York flock in, a lot of people from LA. So there was a lot of money and a lot of people coming here,
Yeah.
and they started businesses. They started from scratch. So it's like they needed video. So I started to get a little bit more clients and a little bit more confidence in my abilities. And then that's when I was like, you know what? Now feels like the right time to make that jump. And honestly, man, it was the scariest thing I have ever done. I had a good salary. I had a steady job that I had been there for a decade, dude.
Benefits.
Benefits. Yeah, I had medical insurance, and
Yeah,
with
dude.
kids, that's important.
For sure.
But at the same time, man, I felt it in my soul. Like I felt it, like it rocked me to my core. I was like, this is it. I
That's
need to
crazy.
jump
Yeah.
now.
That's epic, man. That's
And I
epic.
did.
That's
Yeah.
epic, man. And we're gonna talk more about that and what that was like. But I didn't want to pass this over. I just jotted this down here a second ago. Because you said something that's so profound that a lot of people do not grasp, bro. Especially in entertainment, especially in music. In my deal, or even in podcasting or any business, I guess. But people, I feel like, are so either afraid or unwilling to work for free,
Yes.
especially in the beginning. It's like if you didn't have that catalog that you said that showed your quality, why would you think that you deserve to get paid X amount?
Yeah.
You don't. You
Think
know,
about it. Think about it from the client's perspective. It's like if you're an artist and you're going out looking for someone to do, something for you in the artistic field, like you're gonna want to see their work, right?
yeah,
You're not gonna be like, okay, this guy, he sounds like he knows what he's doing, but I don't necessarily know. So yeah, you have to be able to prove yourself first, and
yeah.
that's why it's so important to do stuff for free, man.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I even think back, and this might be kind of a weird metaphor, but I think back to like the 90s when you'd walk through the mall and all like the Chinese food places, they'll be handing out all those free samples.
Free
But like you
samples.
had one of those free samples and you're like, "Hey, this is good. Let me
That's
go buy
it.
a plate, man." You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like for me and a lot of the people that I know, obviously you, people who kind of get it, like I don't mind working for free if it's going to put me in a position to be able to have opportunity or money down the road. You
Yeah,
know
it's
what I
an
mean?
investment. It's an
For sure.
investment, and it's not an investment monetarily wise, but it's an investment in time. And time is more valuable than money, in my opinion. So if you're willing to give this person, a couple of hours of your time, and both of you are benefiting from it because they're going to get something great and you're going to get a portfolio piece. So
Right.
it's like it's a win-win for everybody, honestly. Like
Yeah.
I understand that, people put a lot of time and effort into building their craft and
Sure.
evolving, and it does take a lot of time. It does
Yeah.
take a lot of
Yeah.
time to develop that craft, but At the same time, you haven't proven yourself yet. You could be the best videographer in the world, but if you don't have a portfolio, nobody's going to know, and nobody's going to put that confidence in you. So
Right.
you need that.
100%. 100%. So what was some of the biggest challenges you faced with getting your company off the ground?
I think in the beginning, it was just the fact that I was inexperienced. I didn't know what I didn't know. And that's the biggest thing is like, once you're in it, like I had failed 9 times before, but now I'm coming into this new space. Like I'm no longer doing consulting. I'm no longer doing computing. I'm in this new era of, videography and content creation. So I didn't know what I didn't know. I literally just dove in not knowing anything, and I learned on the way. But that's the best way to learn, honestly, because if you wait until you're ready, you're never gonna be ready, right? So you set your bar so high that it's like, okay, I'm gonna wait until the plane is done to take that flight. Whereas entrepreneurs and people in the creative field, they jump and they build, the parachute on the way down.
Yeah.
So it's like it's good that you don't know what you don't know, because if you did know how hard it was going to be to start a business and go into a field that I have no experience with, I probably wouldn't have done it, honestly.
Right.
Like, yeah, it probably would have held me back. I would have held myself back.
Yeah.
But because I didn't know what I didn't know, and I just dove in and I just started doing it, especially for free in the beginning, like that was a huge learning experience for me. Like I learned, okay, on my next shoot, I'm not going to do this. And,
Yeah.
this shot was a little blurry, so next time I'll make sure that it's in focus. So yeah, it's all a learning experience. And as long as you take those lessons with you to the next gig, again, consistency is the secret. So success is inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Was there ever a moment that you thought about quitting?
Yes. Lots of times. Lots of times. The hustle culture and the entrepreneurial, group, they hang on, ask me that question again.
Yeah. Was there ever a time you thought about quitting?
Yes. So when you go into something not knowing what you don't know, it's tough, because there are going to be ebbs and flows, especially in business. There's going to be, the economy is going to go up, the economy is going to go down. When I started doing music videos, and I kind of went into doing weddings as well, that kind of dried up for me. Like music videos took a hit. People weren't getting married anymore after COVID. So it's like it took that, lesson when just stuff wasn't coming in, right? So, like business wasn't coming in. It just dried up completely. So it's like I saw my bank account kind of draining a little bit, and it's like, okay, maybe I should go get a job. But no, like the secret is pivoting, the ability to pivot and do something related to your field. Like I started a podcast studio. Like I never would have thought I'd be doing podcasts. So
Yeah.
it's your ability to pivot in it when you're in a tough situation that makes you successful, because business is up lots of ups and downs. It's not an easy thing. And when people say I'm going to quit my job to start my own business so I can work less hours, that's BS. You're going to work way more as a business owner. You're going to work a ton of hours for free because you have to. But if it's something that you're passionate about, it'll be worth it in the long run. And yes, I actually thought about, getting a job again, but I'm so glad I didn't. I was able to pivot. I started the podcast studio, and now I have multiple sources of revenue. So yeah, that's the thing, is the ability to pivot is going to be your secret sauce.
That's great advice, man. Because, this podcast here is all about, hustling, go getting, high achievers, the people who make waves in their industry. So I think that is something that I haven't even really had anybody bring up yet. That's kind of a feature or a characteristic of somebody who ends up being super successful, is that ability to be able to pivot and to be able to adapt. You're right, man. 100%.
Adapt. That's a good word. Yeah. Yeah,
100%.
because the life is going to throw stuff at you, man. The economy is going to go up and down. There's going to be COVID, a virus that's going to wipe out a bunch of people. Like, you have to be able to adapt and pivot and just figure it out. That's the secret to being an entrepreneur and a hustler, man. You just got to figure it out.
Yeah, 100%, man. Could not agree more. So let me ask you this. How do you approach branding and storytelling when working on a project?
Yeah, branding is a funny thing because it's like obviously, I'm branded
I
to
see you
my
revved up.
I'm
Yes,
branded
sir.
everywhere. I got the blue squares in the back for a reason.
I like it.
So you just have to do it in a way that's not in people's faces, right? It's not like you're just throwing logos at people. It's like you just like for me, this is my uniform.
Mhm.
Every time that people think of Anthony or think of Blue Box, they're gonna think of this shirt because that's literally everything that's all I wear.
Right.
I took a lot of inspiration from Steve Jobs, and he always wore the same thing every single day. Like he wore that black turtleneck, and when you think of Steve Jobs, that's what you think of, right? The black turtleneck.
Right.
And it's like it's the subtle things that stand out and stand the test of time.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's good. So, what does a typical day look for you at this time?
Now, dude, I'm growing so fast. I think I've hit a milestone because there's a difference between self-employed and an entrepreneur and a business owner. If you're self-employed, that means you own your own business, but you don't really because you're the only one doing it. So it's like you didn't create a company, you created a job for yourself.
Right.
So it's like that milestone of okay, now this is too much for me. I'm getting burnt out. Now I need help. Now I need to bring in people and I offload and delegate a little bit.
Yeah.
So I've actually been doing that a lot lately. Now it's a team of four. It's not just me anymore.
Hey,
So yeah, I
congrats,
got.
man. That's epic, dude.
Thank you, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah. Once you hit that milestone, then you can say I'm a business owner, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. So what is your team? What do they help you with?
I have a virtual assistant, Marcy. She takes care of all the business side of it. So she, calls clients, schedules, fills up my meetings with potential clients for me to meet with them, and I also have an editor, so I can literally concentrate on what I love to do, which is be behind the camera. This is kind of weird for me being in front of the camera. So
Right, right.
I'll only do it for you, brother.
No, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
But yeah, man. So I got everything that I don't want to do off my plate so that I can concentrate on the fun stuff. I think now I'm able to, put out more content, work on the business instead of in the business. So I've been doing a lot of marketing. I've been doing a lot of, doing my own podcast now,
Yeah.
which I was doing before, but now I can consistently do it because I have more time. So again, time is the most valuable resource. So as long as you can give yourself more time, I consider that an investment.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. That's awesome. And having a team, it definitely changes the game. You know what I mean? Especially if you have a good team.
Yeah.
If you have a good number two and even just a good team in general, man, like it can make the world a difference.
Yeah, it's like a machine. I always say
Yeah.
like a good team is like a machine, right? So you're feeding in clients and then this person takes care of it. They hand it to you, you meet with them, you go shoot, then you hand it off to the editor, and it's like it just rinse and repeat, right? So once you have that little machine going, it's you just got to keep that momentum going. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's the secret.
For sure, man. For sure. So let me ask this. Do you have a favorite type of project? Like a commercial, music video, documentary? What's your favorite?
Honestly, is narrative work. I've always been into short films. A lot of that's why I kind of started with music videos in the beginning, is because it's the easiest thing for me to do. It's you're telling that person's story because they put so much effort and time into the song that it's like they're telling a story. So then it's up to you to tell that visually.
Right.
So that to me has always been, my passion is telling stories. So I think the next logical step for me is shooting short films. Eventually, I want to get to the point where I'm shooting, feature films that are going to be shown in the movie theaters,
Hey.
whether that's under Blue Box or someone else. That's remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really my passion, man. Is storytelling in the form of video and film.
Yeah, no, man, that's epic. I know for me, I'm a big movie buff. I love short films, long films, you know what I mean, and obviously music videos. Being an artist, so yeah, man, I think that's definitely a good direction to go into for sure.
Yeah, no, and I love it because it's like as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, like you can convey a story and make someone watching it feel that emotion that you want them to feel. Like you can teach them a lesson. You can there's so many different things you can do with it, and it's all tied to that emotion, that inner child in us, almost that just loves those stories from our childhood. Like, just, I don't know if you remember back in the day, like your parents reading you a book or you reading a book, and it's like just those words on the page made you feel like it changed you. It rewired you. And the fact that I can now do that, with video and film and just touch as many people as possible just with one video, that's super powerful to me. And that's where I'm going.
For sure, man. The word that jumps into my mind when I think about that is impact.
Yeah.
It really
is. You're having a huge impact on the population as a whole. I mean, think of how much Hollywood has changed our society. Yeah. How many movies you quote on a daily basis. Like, there's a lot of references and a lot of lessons and a lot of things that you've learned from just watching movies and watching TV shows. It's so ingrained in our society now. And I that's one of the things that I want to do also is make a documentary about the impact of film and video on our society as a whole, because it's been a game changer. Like, you can change people's minds with a good documentary. So yeah,
seriously, man, that's crazy. So when it comes to getting new clients for your business, do you feel like it's more referral based? Do you have sales funnels set up? Is it virtual? How do you feel like you're obtaining new clients at this point?
It's kind of both. I know word of mouth is super powerful, so that I concentrate on that. The existing clients, I tell them like, hey, you have any referrals for me? I'll give you a referral fee, that kind of stuff, because that's super powerful. Right. But I also do the Google ads and all that other stuff. So it's kind of like you have to diversify. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. So right now I do it all.
Nice, for sure.
Yeah.
What's your approach to pricing projects?
That's a tricky thing too, man, because it's like you want to be fair. You don't want to, price gouge, but at the same time, it's like this is my life. This is what I do for a living. So it's like you have to walk that fine line between the person's budget and then your livelihood. So yeah, that's interesting because, pricing is an interesting thing, especially when you're working with individuals. When you're working with a company, then it's a different story altogether, right? So like the budget, it's kind of like we need that no matter how much it costs, which are my favorite kind of clients. But but like when you're working with an individual, like you have to be empathetic to their situation. Like, like if you're doing a wedding and they only have, a certain budget to spend, and it's like, I'm usually open to that. So I kind of work with them on price, but yeah, for the most part, it's like, this is my price, does that work for you kind of thing. Right. So it's a dialogue. It's a dialogue for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. So what kind of camera do you shoot with these days?
Oh, wow. Yeah. The gear. So I shoot a lot of it with my Blackmagic, Pocket Cinema 6K. So nice. I've kind of leveled up throughout the years. I started out with just, a regular DSLR camera, and I think that's what I shot your video with. Yeah. It's like that original, like Canon 80D, like the old style DSLR camera. But I mean, you work with what you have, right? So I'm a strong proponent of just use what you have. Don't worry about like getting 6K and the cinema camera, like all this stuff. That's all extra. Your talent will show no matter what. So if the only thing you got in your pocket is a cell phones nowadays are amazing. Like, you can get some amazing videos from a cell phone, especially with a little bit of post-production. Like, if that's all you have, then you can make something comparable to what I'm making with my cinema camera, honestly. So yeah, right. I think tech is just the tool to get your story out there, but it's not, it's not the only thing. Like, you shouldn't concentrate on the tech stuff, which is weird for a person that loves tech to say that, but yeah, like it's just a tool. Like, there's so many different tools that you can use. And I don't know if you saw, but the latest Apple announcement, they usually shoot it like cinematically, right? Like, they have all these lights and they have like these big movements and stuff. And the last one that just came out, the very, very end, if you catch it, it says shot on iPhone. So it's literally like that. They showed some behind the scenes stuff, and it's like, it was literally an iPhone. I mean, they put a cage on it. They put like professional microphones and stuff on it, but but the camera itself was just an iPhone, man. And that goes to show you like how far cell phones have come, that it's so accessible now. And people ask me all the time, it's like when somebody has, you know, a cell phone in their pocket that can make something comparable to what you're making, what makes you stand out? And I always say it's the vision, right? It's the talent. It's the ability to take your clients' needs and provide that for them, especially if they can't do it themselves. It's like you can't just pull out a phone out of your pocket, hit record, and then that's
tell
it,
a whole
right?
story. No. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a whole process. So it's like it's not just holding a camera. That's why I said it's just a tool. Right. So it's the storyteller putting their talent out there using these tools. It doesn't matter what tool it is. It's my talent that's gonna show through.
Sure, 100%. What do you think about how important are stabilizers?
I think it depends on the project, because if you're trying to convey to the audience something chaotic, like a chaotic scene, you're going to want something handheld. That's why there's handheld shots in movies and stuff, is because that storyteller, that filmmaker wants you to feel uneasy. They want you to feel like a little bit anxious, like, oh my God, what's happening? I can't see all of it. It's a little bit blurry. Like there's a lot going on. But when you use that stabilizer, it conveys smoothness. It conveys like peace and just quality. You know, it changes the mood of the shot. So there's benefits to both. So it just depends on what you're trying to convey as a storyteller, whether it's, you know, a romantic scene or something cinematic that needs that smooth motion, or if it's like a quick war, you know, there's a lot going on, a lot of bullets flying, so you need something handheld and quick. And so yeah, it just depends on what you're trying to convey with that specific shot.
When it comes to stabilizers, do you feel like, I know a lot of people have talked to me at least about like gimbals. Do you feel like gimbals are better than just like hooking up a cage and having like the, what do you call them, like the handles on the side or on top? Or do you think it's pretty close to the same? What do you think?
I think gimbals give you the smoothest, but you can also, like if you have steady hands, you can also you know, hand hold something with a cage and get that same kind of shot. But for me, like I could tell the difference. Like I could tell the difference if it's a little shaky. Like yeah, they didn't use a gimbal on this one. So yeah, it just depends. It's a tool that filmmakers have in their little toolbox. That if I want something extra smooth, then yeah, you absolutely use that gimbal. But it's not necessary. And going back to the cell phones, the stability built into these iPhones, like you could literally run with your iPhone in your hand and it'll be super smooth. Like they have the sports mode now that, you know, if you turn that on, it'll smooth everything out for you. So gimbals are necessary for certain types of shots, but it's not mandatory.
Okay. No, for sure. That's good. That was actually a question that I personally wanted to know. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm an open book, so you can ask me anything.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, so let me ask you this. You've worked with a lot of artists and businesses in the Tampa Bay area. Is there anybody or any artist, any business, anybody that stands out, anybody that you're just like, man, this person is really doing their thing that you've done some work for?
That's like making me pick my favorite child. I don't think I can give you that because I'm gonna hurt somebody's feeling. But
man, I like it.
Like honestly, everybody's unique, and that's why I love what I do. Honestly, is like, especially doing this podcast, like I get to listen to conversations and meet people that I normally in my day-to-day life I would never meet, and I would never listen to these conversations. Like I produce podcasts that I personally would never listen to, but because I'm being kind of forced into it, like just sitting behind there, you know, kind of producing the whole thing, I get to listen in on these amazing conversations, and I've learned so much. I'm a better person today than I was when I first started because of my clients.
Yeah, no, 100%. There's something about having conversations with people and seeing different perspectives that just kind of like blows your mind. I'm kind of finding that out now.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's people are so different, man, and they come from different backgrounds and they have different perspectives, and sometimes they'll say something that it's like, wait a minute, and it'll kind of irk you a little bit, but it's like if you stop to think about it, it's like they had a different upbringing. They're looking at the same situation from a different lens. Like they have different life experiences, and that's one of the main things that I've learned you know, doing this business is that you know, everyone is in the same, like we're all in the same boat, right? We're all humans. We all crave love. We all crave certain things, but it's like the the upbringing and the culture and like all these little spices of life that make people different. Is just like you learn how to handle that, or you learn how to see things from other people's perspectives that if I didn't have this business, I wouldn't have that exposure. I wouldn't have been exposed to that. So yeah, it's a huge learning experience for me.
100%, man. 100%. So I want to move into a couple quick questions that are just kind of entrepreneurial and discipline questions.
Sure.
So what's more important, talent or discipline?
I think talent is, people think that, you're born with talent, but I don't think that's true at all. I think talent is built over time. I think discipline is more important because that you can't teach. If somebody's is hungry, if somebody's like, if somebody wants it bad enough, like you can't teach that. Right. So I think honestly, like discipline is more important because the rest you can just learn. And with YouTube University now, like everybody has that natural talent, whether you want to admit it or not, like whether you see it in yourself or not, you have that in you. Right. It's just a matter of developing it and developing that craft of what you're passionate about. That can all be taught. And I learned so much in my life, but that hunger, that drive, that hustle culture, you can't teach that. That you do have to be born with that.
Yeah, for sure, man. I agree 100%. Like, it's almost like, I don't know if you're born with it or if you just develop it along the way, but like grit is something that I just like, you can recognize it a mile away, bro. You can just, somebody who just like takes their beating and just keeps going, bro. And that's what excites me, dog. Like, I really see that and I get inspired.
Yeah. And it stems a lot from struggle. Like people who have struggled in their lives, they have no option but to hustle. Like that's ingrained in you from the beginning. So yeah, maybe you're not born with it, but it's your life experiences that gives you that hunger, and it's just something you can't teach. You have to go through that struggle. You have to go through that depravity to have that in you, that fire in you. Because a lot of people that are born into money and are born into these, rich families and stuff, they've never had to work for anything in their lives. Right. So when they're put in a situation where they have to work for it, it's like they don't have that hunger. They don't have that drive. It's like everything was handed to me. So it's like, yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. 100%. What makes a good leader?
I think a good leader is a person who has the ability to go where your employees are, right? So it's like you're up here, right? But if you bring someone into your company and you're trying to lead them, you can't expect them to be at your level, right? So you mentorship is a huge part of that, and you have to be able to humble yourself. And I think humility is super important in leadership because somebody's coming to you to learn, to be a part of your company. So it's like you have to take the time and have the patience and humbleness to let's slow down a little bit. Let's slow down and let's teach you right.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And I've said this now on multiple podcasts, but I really believe it. So I'm going to keep saying it, is that, the best leaders that I've been around, just like you said, they were humble enough to do the job they were asking me to do. They weren't afraid to go out and, talk to somebody out on the street and just pull them and start talking to them right away, or just, like lead by example, and then like you said, be able to put yourself in the perspective and have that, not just humility, but also like empathy to understand, okay, I can't expect this person to just get it right away. Like it takes time. It's a process. They have to build. We have to build them. We have to teach them. So 100%, man. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And people expect that, right? Like if they're coming to you for leadership, like they're expecting that level of empathy because it's like they're not at your level and they understand that.
Right.
So yeah, it just takes some humbleness and just patience, honestly.
Yeah.
And I like what you said, where it's you have to be willing to do the job yourself. Like if you can't do it yourself, why are you expecting someone else to do it? So it's like you have to show, and you have to be willing to roll up your sleeves and do it with them. Like we're a team, right? Like, yeah, that's super important.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. And you kind of touched on this earlier, but I was going to ask you just to go in a little bit more. What do you think are the benefits of being a risk taker?
I think everything in life that's worthwhile doing takes some level of risk, right? So you have to be able to risk something to gain something. And if the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. So I believe that when I took my jump, when I quit my job, again, it was the scariest thing I've ever done, but I knew that the reward was there. It was just a matter of time. So that belief, yeah, it's super important.
100%, man. For sure. I appreciate this, bro. You got some wisdom to share, so I'm definitely happy, to have you on. So these next questions they're going to be more just kind of fun questions to get to know you as we're kind of wrapping up.
Okay.
So what's something people would be surprised to learn about you?
Oh, wow. Yeah. That I'm a certified sailor. Like, I can sail a sailboat.
Wow, you really are?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
seriously.
wow, that is very surprising. That's tight, man.
Yeah, no, I love everything. Like, I've gone skydiving more times than I can count. Like, I'm a risk taker, and again, risk and reward. So if you risk something, you're gonna gain something from it. So yeah, that's one thing a lot of people don't know about me.
Nice, man. I like that. That's cool. If you could swap lives with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
I don't think I would, man, honestly. Like, I love my life. It took all the struggle that I went through to get where I am, but I'm so happy with where I ended up, man. And honestly, like, this is just the beginning, to be honest with you. Like, this is just the beginning. I'm just getting started. So watch out.
Yeah. Hey, 100%, man. I love that energy.
I'm going to be on an Oscar stage one day, and I'm manifesting it by saying it, and now publicly in a video and a podcast. So
yes, sir.
One day you're going to see Anthony Rivera on the Oscar stage.
Hey, that's what's up, man. I can't wait for that day, man. Remember this
Yes,
podcast
sir.
too. You know what I'm saying? Make sure to shout
Absolutely.
us out. No, I'm just kidding.
Shout out to Don Drago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like it. Oh, man, that's epic. All right. What's your favorite movie or TV show?
My favorite, you know what? Let's start with the TV show. I think the best TV shows are ones that make you think and don't answer all the questions for you. I think leaving a little bit of ambiguity in the narrative is good, because then you as the viewer, you kind of fill in the gaps, right? So the more gaps you leave as a filmmaker and as a storyteller, the more you're letting your audience into the story and kind of filling in the gaps for you. So it makes them a part of the story. And I think the best show right now, in my opinion, is Severance. I think that there's so many mysteries, and just the way that the story's being told, and the way that, like, all the little details, like the color of their shirt and the just everything about it. I love it. Like, even the acting, like, you can have you seen Severance?
I have not.
Okay, so it's basically a story about this little chip that they put in people's heads. So when you go to work, you're at work, but then when you leave work, you don't remember anything that happened there, but you remember everything that happened outside. So it's like you're severed. So you're two different people.
Whoa.
And yeah, man, and
That's
whenever even the acting, like when they go into work, you can see in the actors' faces that they change. They're different. And those little nuances I love, because it's like I'm watching for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, man. No, that's epic. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's so good. So good. Highly, highly, highly recommended.
Wow. Very nice. What about movies?
Movies is a little tougher, because there's so many good ones out there, and I don't want to, overshadow anything, but I think from that kind of perspective, that it kind of leaves the gaps in there for you, I think Inception was just top notch for me. That's the height of storytelling to me. It was Inception.
That's a great movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, and that has that kind of same feel to it that Severance does. It's like that mystery, like you think you know what's happening until something changes that. It's like, wait a minute, that completely changes everything that just happened. So it makes you think. That's the kind of content I like to consume.
Right, like you think you know what's happening, and then something happens, and then you realize you have no idea what's happening.
You have no clue the entire time. It's something completely different.
That's funny.
So yeah,
man.
I love it. I love narratives with a twist at the end, because it's like now you can go back and rewatch it and then you'll start to pick up on these little hints that they dropped along the way. It's like these little breadcrumbs that the storyteller left for you, so that when you rewatch it, it's like, that makes a lot more sense. So I love stuff like that.
For sure, man. I could see that being a good reason for you to like it, you know, being in the film and cinematography and all that, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, cool. What kind of music is Anthony riding around listening to these days?
Oh, wow, music. Okay. That varies on my mood. I use music as a form of therapy. So it depends on what I'm going through in my life. That's kind of what I listen to, and it helps me get in the right mind space. I think it's a lot more comforting than a movie or a TV show, because it's like you internalize it, and a lot of the stories that are being told through music are that of pain, and all that of trauma and life experiences and love, and it's a lot more personal, so it hits home. I think if I were to narrow down a genre, I think right now I'm in the reggae phase. So I'm a little bit on like California reggae. Yeah. No, I listen to everything. I'm not, I'm not disparaging any other genre, but like right now, that's what I'm listening to. Yeah.
Dope, man. I like it. All right. And last one, where is your dream vacation?
A dream? Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that one. Dream vacation. I think I want to go to Rome.
Ooh, yeah.
I like the history of it. I like the fact that, buildings that are still standing, hundreds and sometimes thousands of years, that are still there for us to go and see. And yeah, I love the history of Rome. I would love to go to Rome.
Yeah, Italy is definitely on my bucket list as well, man. They have multiple spots too. Obviously Rome, the
Venice, yeah.
Venice. That was exactly what I was gonna say. Venice, and obviously they got all the crazy beaches, all the food. Man, Italy is where it's at, I feel like.
Yeah, just Europe in general, but Italy definitely is on the top of the list.
Yeah, for sure. Even though I had a DJ on the pod the other day, and he was trying to convince me to go to Japan. He's like, yo, okay. Japan is like the best place in the world. I'm like, oh yeah. Right. He's like telling me, so I was like, all right, man.
Yeah, cool, no, Japan's great too. I would love to go to Asia, but I think if I had to pick a top, I think it'd be definitely Italy.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool, man. So as we're kind of coming to a close here, I want to ask, what's next for you? Any big projects or goals on the horizon?
Yeah, man. Honestly, like I said earlier, I think narrative work is going to be the future of Anthony Rivera. So I think I'm going to start doing, now that I have a little bit more time, I've been able to offload a lot of the business stuff to some of the people that I've hired. So I have a lot more time in my hands now, and I would like to start producing some narrative work. So I think next for me is either short films, or I might just dive in and just do a feature film. So yeah, definitely watch out for that.
Hey, man, I'll definitely be watching out, man, and I know we all can't wait to see that, so 100%. Any last-minute shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, I just want to shout out to my kids, my daughter Zoe and my son Zach. They're my inspiration, that they're the reason why I do what I do, and, that they're going to be there with me at the Oscars.
Oh, yeah, shout out to them. Your guys' dad is crushing it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, man. So last thing, where can people find you? Instagram, website? I'll probably tag a lot of it in the description, but just so they can see it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to check out my full portfolio and everything that I've kind of worked on is BlueBoxDigital.com, and then on Instagram is my top social media. So at BlueBoxDigital1 with a 1 at the end. I'm still trying to get the one without the 1, but somebody else is kind of using that. So. But yeah, Instagram, I'm doing really good on TikTok too. A lot of my stuff does really well on TikTok. So it's at BlueBox Digital. And obviously, if you want to check out my podcast, it's BlueBox Podcast on all the social media channels. And then if you go to blueboxdigital.com/podcast, you'll see it there too. So yeah, check me out.
Money. Make sure to go check him out, guys. Anthony, I want to thank you so much again for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure picking your brain today and learning all about cinematography and about your business and entrepreneurship. Everybody, I want to thank you so much again for tuning in to another episode of the HustleCoast Podcast. But other than that, we will see you guys on the flip side.